Hey, what's going on everybody? Leo Invest here, back with another video. Today's video, I'm going to be going over 2 NASDAQ trades that I took on June 3rd of 2025. And the reason why I'm making this video is I think it's important to sort of discuss as to why models do not always work in your favor, since there is no trading model that has a perfect 100% win rate. And today's example was a prime example where I took some NASDAQ shorts off open and ended up taking a loss for around $900 before flipping my position during PM session and actually taking a very nice win, taking me back green on the day with these NASDAQ trades. So jumping right into it here, what did I notice about NASDAQ on the 5-minute time frame at this indices open at 9:30? Well, here we see we had this 8 o'clock candle, and if we use the time frame alignment for the fractal model, what were some of the things that I saw? Well, if we just use a sessions indicator here, this was actually the original London high, and on top of this original London high, this was also the 8 a.m. high, the 8 a.m. candlestick high. And so what I was watching for here at market open, which is what I'd mentioned within the server, was I wanted to see a sweep of this London high, as well as this hourly 8 a.m. candle high, to then see a change in state of delivery, aka the fractal model, form to give me a short position into our draws on liquidity, which I'll have marked here with the X. So the original game plan was to enter a short position with the closure below this change in state of delivery, targeting this primary draw on liquidity at 21,503.25, and then potentially finding our way back to this London session low and Asia session low. And as we see here, when I had entered this short position on NASDAQ with this closure, my stop being at the top of this change in state of delivery, what did we see happen? Well, I ended up getting stopped out of my position before I could see 2R actually play out. And the reason was this was invalidated, and probably one of the reasons why I probably shouldn't have taken the trade is we did see a very aggressive 5-minute closure at that 9:30 open, where we flipped from a very bullish candle into a very bearish candle. And so this here, with this extreme liquidity and price action from this 5-minute candle, was most likely the reason that this fractal model had gotten invalidated, because we had such aggressive movement at that 5-minute open that typically we want to see clearer price action and less indecisiveness prior to entering. And so here I took my entry on the closure of that 5-minute change in state of delivery with this bearish candle body closure, and I ended up getting stopped out for about 25.5 points. So not an ideal trade setup, and one that falls within the 30% loss rate of the fractal, since I typically find an accuracy between 66 and 74%, and this just happened to be a loser on the day, and I just had to sit on my hands until another trade setup formed. And as you can tell as well, I did not take any other future trades until around the PM session, around 1:30 p.m., where I took another trade. This trade making back my losses from the morning. So what did I see happen now with NASDAQ for this winning trade that had worked in my favor? Well, there were a couple different things to note. First of all, we had created London session close, and New York had a continuation of this London session. As we see here, we had a New York continuation today, which was the profile for today. And so what I was watching for until the setup finally unfolded was this formation of this 1 o'clock candle. Because if we just look at the formation of this 12 o'clock candle, which I will have here, the start of this 12 o'clock forms on this closure here, and we see this 12 o'clock close right here before this 1 o'clock open. And so here we have an hourly candlestick, which is what I was watching. And so what do I see happen with this 1 o'clock candlestick in correlation to this 12 o'clock? Well, the 12 o'clock formed a 12 o'clock candle body high, which was marked here by this X. I'll actually mark this as our 12 p.m. high, And after this 12 p.m. high, one of the big things that I was watching was to see whether or not 1 p.m. would sweep the high of this 1 o'clock candle, form a change in state of delivery, and give me an entry signature into some shorts. So let's see what happens here. This 3 candle body closure, so 1 o'clock opens, we see a small bearish movement followed by a 3 candle body bullish up closure, sweeping the high of the 12 o'clock candle before creating a bearish change in state of delivery, which I'll have marked here in this red line. So this change in state of delivery was now my entry signature for a potential trade setup into these NASDAQ shorts. And now, where was I planning on actually having my take profit be? Well, during this New York continuation, we formed a very aggressive and also a very large bearish breaker block down at these lows. And so this right here became my draw on liquidity for these shorts. And so what I waited for was to see if we would get a candle body closure below this change in state of delivery, which we'll just let this play out really quick. And then once we get that closure below, my entry was taken in this trade, with my stop loss being at the top of this change in state of delivery here, aka the New York high, with my TP going for a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. So if we just follow the original fractal model, my stop at this high and my take profit was actually at the encroachment, aka the 50% level of this breaker block. And so we'll move my TP down here, and then this officially became a perfect A+ trade setup. We saw a closure below the change in state of delivery. We defined our risk model by taking a 25-point stop at that change in state of delivery high, meaning that if market decided to retrace up until that change in state of delivery high, this would be an invalidated short setup. And then we target a 2R down to this breaker block. So the original 2R actually was not at the direct encroachment. It was actually a little bit higher here. So let me see if I can actually access that for you guys, which the 2R was actually just at the top of that breaker. So aligned very well with the fractal model here, but I ended up taking the encroachment since that tends to be a high area of interest of liquidity within the 50% marker of a breaker. So let's let this play out now after we've now taken our entry off of an A+ signature and see what happens with the trade. Here we see we retest into this change in state, get a bearish candle body closure, and then we start to see a continuation until I was taken out at a beautiful 2.3R profit on this trade, yielding a very nice 59-point trade for my 25-point loss from the morning, putting me 25 points even on the day. And so this right here was a beautiful trade for myself, as it had defined a clear entry model for this short setup, taking back my losses from the day. But as you see here, I did not force any entries during this New York continuation and waited for the A+ entry to form up at that 1 o'clock high, yielding a very good PM session for myself. And so once again, just to reiterate this trade, what was one of the things that I was watching? Well, we created a New York high and this 12 o'clock closed. And what did we see the 1 o'clock candle do? Well, we had a very small bearish move down, followed by an aggressive 3-candle body bullish closure, sweeping the 1 o'clock or the 12 o'clock high with this 1 o'clock candle, forming this change in state of delivery off of this 3-candle body up closure. And then now the fractal model defines it that if you take an entry, you want to see a 5-minute candle body closure, or the time frame that you are using in which the change in state of delivery is created below. And here we see this change in state of delivery closure where my entry was taken at the end of that 5-minute candle. And then I targeted a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio, was taken out at a 2.37R on this trade within about 15 minutes after entering. So this once again was a beautiful trade setup and definitely a lucky day for me today. I had a very bad entry in these fractal model shorts to start off the morning, so I was very lucky to find an A+ setup during the PM session. And I just want to say a verbal reminder to all of you out there that red days are a part of the process and that no model is going to yield a 100% win rate. That is just the reality of markets, is that you're not always going to win every trade. And some days I take a loss right at 9:30 open and I just have to sit with it for the rest of today and consider it a learning curve and a market tuition day. Like, I took this loss today and immediately started to reflect on why this trade setup may have not worked. And the example why is because we had such an aggressive 9:30 open that maybe there was a chance that liquidity just did not have any clear, or price action didn't have any clear defined direction yet, even though a change in state of delivery was formed. So we're happy we took an A+ setup, which ended up yielding a beautiful 59-point win, taking me about 29 points in profit for the day, yielding another A+ trade setup. But I hope you all enjoyed this video once again. Stay tuned, as I will be releasing some videos on equilibrium, as well as how to align higher time frame analysis and liquidity sweeps with the fractal and the candle to unicorn. But if you guys did enjoy the video, please feel free to like and subscribe for more videos like this one, and I will catch you all in the very next video. See you all. Bye now.